Today is April 2nd, 2016, and we will be interviewing Rose Loos at the Westhampton Beach Historical Society, and for that, we thank her.
Thank you.
Where were you born? That's the first
I was born in Astoria, which is a little community on Long Island, Queens.
Oh, okay.
Astoria, Queens, Long Island.
Okay. And how long have you lived in Westhampton?
57 years.
57 years. And what is your exact age?
My exact age, I was 100 years old, the 3rd of March.
Wow. So that means you were born in 1916, right?
Exactly.
What would you say is your greatest memory here?
The greatest memory here, the people. The people were different, but the people that I deal with, they're just wonderful.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful community.
You surrounded yourself.
And yes, and I am happy to be here.
What would you say is the biggest change that you've noticed here?
There are so many changes I can't think at the moment. I just can't think of all the changes. I miss the stores that we had. They used to call them mom and pop stores, but they were individual.
Yeah.
And it was nice to go into a store and the proprietor would know you.
Yeah.
And greet you. But I miss that
Camaraderie?
Yes, the camaraderie with people, yes.
Yeah. Obviously, in your years here, 57 years, you've seen people come and go.
I don't have any friends anymore. They're all gone.
You still say that you've still surrounded yourself with people that you care about and that care about you and that have made you feel at home here.
That's part of getting old. You just become part of a group. We need people.
Yeah.
As individuals, we need people. And that's part of life.
Would you say these relationships that you've created have come from your involvement in the community? Like volunteer work, community service,
Exactly.
things like that?
Exactly. I belong to the Catholic Church, and that has been a big part of my life.
Yeah.
But the people that I have met through the church and through the everyday going shopping and whatnot, these are people that you meet and they become part of your life. And that's the way it was here at one time.
And how often do you go to church?
I go to church every morning at 8 o'clock Mass.
And you're out the door by when?
Well, I'm a little late now, but I get there about 7:25.
You drive there, right?
Yes, I do. I drive locally. I drive to the church and the post office, or within the community.
But in any conditions, right? Any condition, any weather, rain.
Listen, when you've lived as long as I have, and in places that I've had, I lived in Michigan, and the snow was that high. You don't let little things like a little snow bother you.
Was life for you or your family ever hard in Westhampton?
You just take life as it comes, and you just deal with it.
Yeah, it's all in a mindset, would you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you kept a positive attitude your whole life, or?
That's very important as part of your life.
You didn't grow up here, right? No. You grew up in Queens.
That's right.
Did you have any jobs, or?
I did. I worked for a lawyer. And I was 17 or 18, I guess I was, after school. And that was my first job. I worked in the bank. I worked in the bank in the city. I worked at the bank of the bank that was here. I've worked a good part of my life.
Yeah.
As I was raising my kids.
Can you describe to us what it was like going to work every day, coming home every day?
You know, that's a long time ago. I have to think about that.
They said that when you would walk on 5th Avenue or like in the city, you would have to wear white gloves.
It was certainly very different.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was different, but there was an appreciation for things that we don't have today.
So you would say that the way people brought themselves into the world, or like coming out every day, they had more appreciation for themselves
Oh,
and their image.
yes, you did. It was a whole different atmosphere. When I went to work, I wore a hat and gloves, and that is the way people dressed at that time. It was an entirely different situation.
Yeah. You were around the time of the Great Depression. You were in your early 20s, right?
I don't remember. Age doesn't. I never bothered about age.
But that's around the time of your first job too, right? So.
I worked for the Bank of Yorkville.
Oh, okay, during.
And I can't remember. I was in my 20s. And the Bank of Yorkville, that was very interesting. I worked for them for 10 years, and that was at the height of the Hitler and the Nazi, and Yorkville was a German town.
Oh.
And I remember seeing they used to call it the Bund, the German Bund, and they'd march up on 86th Street, because I was at 86th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues.
What would you start your day with at school?
There was a lot of respect in those days. We would have our lessons. There was no talking in class at all. And some of the teachers, they would have a wand, and they just tap you on the shoulder or something if you just turned your face to talk to a kid or say something. You were not allowed to do that.
How to act.
The kids today are smarter than what we were, I think. Their teaching is different, and the whole attitude of life is different today. I respect it, but there's something lacking in it.
So you graduated high school in Queens, and then you went right into the job force. And around what time did you decide to move away from New York?
Well, I got married. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I got married. And then I had 4 kids, one right after the other. And that was my life.
Your husband, he was in the military, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes, he was. He was in the military when I married him. He was a little unhappy with his situation at home. He decided to join the service, which he did. He joined the Army. It was not an Air Force at that time. And he made it his career.
He was involved in World War II and Korea, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
What were the planes?
And when he retired from the Air Force, when he retired from there, he became part of the government, and he was considered a helicopter. He was Mr. Helicopter. He could do anything, and if he didn't approve of an airplane, nobody would fly it.
Do you remember some of the places that you lived in? Like
Some of the places?
Yeah.
I lived in 5 or 6, 5 states. I lived in Michigan, which the kids just loved it there. And I lived in Arizona, Illinois, Texas, and there might have been another one, and I can't remember.
Okay. And
So I should wear a medal too.
yeah, because while he was out on missions, you were the one that was at home taking care of the children and bringing them to school, or taking care of them when they came home from school, helping them with homework.
I did it all.
Do you remember the types of planes that your husband flew?
Oh gosh. Well, he took me up in a T. It was a trainer, and I can't remember the name of it. It was T something, T-26 something. I knew every aircraft. I knew them. I designated everyone with the names of them and whatnot. I knew them all. But I can't remember them now. I can't remember the T something.
Yeah. I remember you talked about the Liberator, the B-24, B-26 bomber.
The B-24 was the Liberator was what he flew. That was a bomber. And he flew that in, he flew it out of Italy during World War II.
Mm-hmm. You said he actually came into some trouble in the Korean War and he earned a medal?
He was honored with the Distinguished Flying Cross. And he's got medals, but...
Yeah, but that one's the highest honor that you can receive as a pilot, right?
Yes,
yeah.
that was.
Did, at any point in your life, when he went off, did you feel like nervous or scared for your family or yourself? No?
No.
You knew that he was going to be fine.
I knew his ability.
Mm-hmm.
He would come down at times, he would come down from a flight.
Mm-hmm.
This was not Air Force at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But then he would come down and tell me of the situation that they had encountered up there,
Mm-hmm.
and which made me kind of nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the kind of man that he was afraid of nothing.
So
He tried to teach me that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work. But anyway, he was devoted to the Air Force,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted us to be the same, and we were.
I know that you had to go through Checkpoint Charlie in Berlin.
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah. Was that with your husband? Or?
No.
No?
He was in. What we did, he took me to Berlin because his friend had the same last name and the same birthday that he had. They were friends in the Air Force.
Okay.
And Al was then, he was a major in the Air Force, and he was in Berlin. He was in charge of whatever it was in the base at Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband decided to visit him.
Mm-hmm.
So the two of us went over there, and he had a heart attack over there.
Okay.
And two friends of his from the base that he was stationed at, two friends of his came over to be with me on this day, and they took me to Checkpoint Charlie. They took me into the Russian area,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to a museum there. But when I boarded the plane, and I had my passport, and there was Leonard's name on it with me. So when we boarded this bus to go over,
Mm-hmm.
this woman came on. She was a Russian soldier.
Mm-hmm.
She came over, and she looked at me, and she took the passport, and she pointed to Leonard's name.
Yeah.
So my friend said, he's in the hospital here.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But what they did, they went she left the bus, and then with a camera, I think it was a camera, she went all around the bus, the bottom of the bus, underneath.
Oh, okay.
Underneath the bus. And then we went into the other, we crossed the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I visited a museum there,
Mm-hmm.
and there were things that was interesting to see.
Yeah. Do you have any other significant people that were involved in the military besides your husband? Any other family members or close friends?
My brother was in Korea,
Mm-hmm.
but he was there just for his time. It was not in wartime,
Okay.
because he was in the service.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it that I can remember.
Okay. Do you recall any experiences that you had with the civil rights movement? No?
No.
You were never
Uh,
different time?
I was too busy with my kids.
With your kids, yeah. How long were you married?
48 years.
48 years.
I figured that out yesterday.
And when did you decide to come out here?
Leonard was stationed at the base. And
Gabreski?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
In fact, he retired from this base.
So,
That's another story.
Another story.
The base.
the base? What experiences do you have with the base?
It was living in the Air Force. What can I tell you?
Just another Air Force base.
Yes.
Okay. And you said you had 4 children, right?
Yes.
Can you name them and where they are now?
Well, I lost a daughter.
Okay.
And I have a son in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my 2 daughters. Ellen is 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Diane.
Diane.
And Diane doesn't live too far from us. She's with us all the time.
Oh, okay.
So I have my 2 daughters with me all the time. On my back.
Are you involved in the community in another way besides just the church?
This point of my life, I volunteered here for about 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
As in the Historical Society, right?
as a docent.
Okay.
And I worked at the bank here.
Mm-hmm.
I was involved in community.
Mm-hmm. When you were younger, I was told that you're a very good singer, and that you were actually on a TV show in Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was.
Do you have any specific memories of any times
that?
Yeah.
Well, I was on twice.
Twice.
They called me back.
Mm-hmm.
They called me back the 3rd time.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3rd time, when I got there were so many people, and you probably wouldn't remember, but Eddie Bracken was there,
Mm-hmm.
and he was a film star at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw everybody, and I thought to myself, my husband was with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I said to myself, what am I doing here? I have 4 kids at home who need me,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I left.
You left.
And that was it.
And
that was my career.
But when you came out here, you still continue to sing.
Oh yes.
For smaller events and.
I sang as soloist, mostly funerals.
And weddings too, right?
Yes, I sang a Danny Boy at a wedding. Oh no,
Really?
that was at a funeral.
Really?
At a funeral.
Danny Boy.
And I have, in fact, just recently, a man stopped by and he said, you sang at my wedding. I said, I did? Are you still married? And he said, yes, I am. 45 years ago.
Wow.
So,
That's amazing, yeah. That's amazing. And you're pretty talented on the piano too, right?
Oh, well, I did play quite well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, I don't see as well as I should.
Mm-hmm.
I have 20/20 vision, believe this or not. This is what the doctor told me.
Mm-hmm.
I have in one eye, and the other I have 20/30.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I'm able to drive.
Mm-hmm.
And my hands don't want to move the way they should.
They used to.
But I play on occasion.
Yeah.
I love, music was my love. It was part of my life.
Around the time that you started your family, you definitely had a radio in the house for the music. And also, at that time was when they had soaps and other types of TV shows that were just dialogue.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with what you said.
Okay.
Do you remember Bing Crosby?
Bing Crosby, yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I ask
The
people
singer.
about that around your age. They have no idea who Bing Crosby is.
Yeah.
So you're one of the different. And I'm very happy to know that.
Thank you. Yeah, my family and my sister especially, she really loves Bing Crosby and hearing him sing and watching the movies that he used to be in and everything, yeah. But, what was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so you had a radio in your house, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't...
I don't listen to it, but it's there.
But you used to when it was like first around.
I was 6 years old when my father was killed. He was killed by a railroad train.
Mm-hmm.
And what had happened, we went to, my mother was 27 years old,
mm-hmm.
and she had 3 kids, and I was the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to this city. We would and move. I guess just stayed with my uncle and his family. My uncle had what they called it was a little. He had a little box there, and
mm-hmm.
there was a name for it, and I know it so well, but I can't think of it at the moment. But then, when my mother got situated, she bought a radio,
mm-hmm.
and the people who would pass by would listen because people didn't have radios in their homes at that time.
Later, when television started to become popular, or even just come out in general.
Oh, that was the same with my husband. He had to be first.
Yeah.
No matter what it was. Whatever came out, he had to have it.
Mm-hmm.
So we got it.
Yeah.
It was a television set.
Mm-hmm. Black and white.
But, oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it wasn't on all day. My daughter Ellen, I remember putting her in the high chair. That's how long ago this was.
mm-hmm.
And she would watch TV.
Mm-hmm. You guys were the first one to have a TV on the block, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In fact, at that time, we lived in Air Force, and so we lived in, it was a hut-like type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we lived pretty close together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the woman across the way from me would sit in her porch watching our television.
Your TV. Would you say there's any secret to living this long?
The secret is living this long.
You don't have like a daily routine or anything that...
No, I never thought of age.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of it. I can't tell you how old I was where I was. I never thought about age. I guess I was too busy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
As far as a secret, there is no secret.
Mm-hmm.
You live your life, and I'm going to be talking to you because you're young.
Mm-hmm.
Have faith. Make your life a journey and learn from living.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily from school. Learn from living.
From your experience.
That's what I can tell you.
That's pretty much all I have. Okay. Thank you so much.
Is there anything you want to know?
Okay?
Anything else you want us to include or?
No, I just want to go home and have breakfast.
I'm with you on that one.